I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network, and we are live here on the day where we will all be watching the People's State of the Union here on the MeidasTouch Network, and where we will all be boycotting the State of the Union. We say no to wannabe kings. We say no to fascism. We say no to tyrants. We say no to authoritarianism. We say no to masked agents and ICE Gestapo terrorizing, torturing, and killing people here in the United States. We say no to the cover-up by the Trump regime of the child sex trafficking ring led by Jeffrey Epstein and co-conspirators who are still being protected by Donald Trump and his despicable regime. Let's be very clear with our words. The cabal is at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, and they are protecting the Epstein class. So throughout today, we will be having coverage not of the State of the Union, which we are all boycotting here, but we will be having coverage of the People's State of the Union, the event that is being hosted by the MeidasTouch Network, as well as Move On. You'll be able to watch that here on the MeidasTouch Network, and you'll see in our live feed, when you look at it today, the link in order for you to watch the People's State of the Union. We have dozens and dozens of members of Congress. We have House of Representative members and senators who will all be speaking at the People's State of the Union. Many of them will be bringing guests as well, whose lives have been impacted by the Trump regime. One of the individuals who will be at the People's State of the Union is Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, and she will also be delivering her own speech this morning, which I will be playing in a few minutes. Just a quick reminder about Congresswoman McIver. She's at the forefront of the fight for our democracy, and she stepped up to protect people from ICE. And now Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, and their cabinet of cronies and Epstein class members and protectors are doing everything they can to try to throw the Congresswoman in prison for 17 years. She's facing felony charges just for doing her job, and in the face of Donald Trump's efforts to intimidate her, silence her, and shut down all dissent in this country, Congresswoman McIver is not folding. She is doubling down to protect her community, to hold Trump officials' feet to the fire, and to protect our democracy, which is what actually makes our nation what it is. As a newer member to Congress, she has immediately taken a spot as one of our nation's loudest voices for accountability against Donald Trump's fascism and his cruelty. She is the first member of Congress to be charged by this despicable regime just for doing her job, and she's bravely stepping up to make sure Donald Trump can't get away with this. So today, she joins us from Washington, D.C., where she's addressing the state of our union and our democracy on behalf of democracy defenders and in partnership with MeidasTouch. Here she is with Democracy Defenders Action. And take it away, Congresswoman McIver.
I am LaMonica McIver. You may not know my name, but you may have heard my story. I am the Congresswoman that Donald Trump is trying to put in prison for 17 years. Trump's Department of Justice is going after me, trying to silence me, and scare other people out of standing for what's right. All because I was doing my job. I am proud to represent my hometown in Congress. The people who raised me, trusted me to be their voice, and sent me to Washington to represent them. They all call New Jersey home. Last year, as Donald Trump took office, I saw those same people living in fear. Raids, masked agents, kids being pulled out of school, loved ones taken away without a trace. So I did what I am supposed to do as a member of Congress. I went to inspect a detention center in my district because we heard reports of how bad it was. I went to get answers. This administration charged me with 2 felonies. imprisoning elected officials of the opposing party, using the full force of the law and the taxpayer dollar to shut down dissent. This is not what happens in America. And it is not what happens in a democracy. That is why I am here today, joining with Democracy Defenders Action to address the state of our union and the state of our democracy. There is so much happening in our country. My colleagues and many others will talk about that tonight and in the coming days. But this moment demands that we directly address the state of our democracy. What has happened over the last year, where we are headed, and what must change if we are going to preserve the country we all love. Trump never believed the law applied to him, but now he's surrounded himself with people who believe it too. He stacked the courts, sent troops into American cities, and is using the government as a tool for retribution. This moment in time feels as close to the brink as we have ever been. Tonight, we can expect Donald Trump to do what he always does, lie. He will tell us not to believe our own eyes. He will tell us we've never been safer, even as he sends masked agents to murder Americans and terrorize families. He's going to tell you life is getting more affordable, even as his policies make things more expensive. He is going to tell you that he is popular. He's made a lot of promises, but the only thing he's done is make life worse. He doesn't work for you because he doesn't care about you. And that is a democracy problem. Everything Donald Trump does, he does to help himself, his family, and his billionaire buddies. Economic chaos, global instability, the elimination of our rights at home, and constant fear allow powerful people to get more power and more money. Everyone else pays the price. As daily costs go up, everyday people don't have a corporate cushion to help them out. As we worry about our loved ones' safety, we focus less on who is responsible. But in boardrooms and backrooms across the country, Trump and his richest friends can sit above the chaos and rewrite the rules to help themselves even more. This is power and money that they will do anything to keep. While Americans are forced to focus on survival, it becomes easier for those at the top to tighten their grip on everything else and get rich while doing it. There are people who can change this, people who were elected to do so. And tonight, at least on the Republican side, many of those people will stand up and clap. The president will say things that will make your stomach turn, and these Republicans will cheer. But it's no surprise. They're doing what they've always done, giving up on all the power voters trusted them with and handing it directly to Trump. Congress has the responsibility to check the president, and these people refuse to do it. The Constitution gives members of Congress the responsibility to oversee the executive branch and protect everyone in this country from abuses of power. But we have seen repeatedly that the Trump administration and Republicans will lie, cheat, and steal to avoid their actions being seen for what they are. Look at ICE and DHS. Last year was the deadliest in decades for ICE, but they saw my oversight and called me a criminal. They used a little boy as bait and locked him up. They killed a mother and called her a domestic terrorist. They murdered a nurse and called him an assassin. They want to get away with all of it. They will turn the story around on any and all of us. They are testing our humanity, and they are testing the strength of our democracy, pushing, bending, and even breaking the guardrails that hold it together. The administration weaponizing the Department of Justice against me is just one example. They are doing something that hasn't happened in our country since the 1700s, trying to put someone who the people elected in jail for using my voice to question his. No experienced prosecutor would have brought this case. That's why Trump appointed Alina Habba. No normal DOJ would keep pursuing it. That's why Trump chose Pam Bondi. No just DHS would have stood so firmly behind their wrongdoing. That's why Kristi Noem is at the helm. To them, the government is a tool of intimidation. I'm not the only one in the administration's sights. They threatened Attorney General Tish James after she enforced the law. They charged David Huerta for standing up for working people. They investigated members of Congress for telling troops to follow the law. They have singled out the people who challenge their power. And this is only the start. Trump is talking about nationalizing elections. He's got the FBI storming the Fulton County, Georgia election office. This administration has shown us that they only think elections are fair when they win. They don't believe they are accountable to the people on any front. And they are scared more than anything that they will lose power. What we do in this moment matters. People in power haven't always cared about people who look like me. A Black girl from Newark who grew up poor. They haven't always listened to or fought for communities like mine or yours anywhere in this country. But democracy meant that people in power had to listen to us, to the people. That is what is under attack. Authoritarians target their critics one by one to warn everyone else to stay quiet. They drown them in lies and legal bills and fear and threats. They isolate their critics and make the people watching think nothing can be done to help. But that's just another lie they're telling you. America can handle dissent. We should welcome it. The conversation makes us stronger. But Donald Trump doesn't care about America. He cares only about himself, his money, his power. It is time to decide, is democracy worth defending? Is it worth the risk? Is it worth the very real sacrifice? There are people who will tell you that democracy is just a beautiful idea and not something we've bled for. I am not one of those people. Tonight, when you hear the State of the Union, I want you to listen carefully. Watch not just what the president is saying, but what he is doing. Think about what he has done. Is this the America you want? Because that is the real measure of the state of our union. And if the answer to that question is no, then the work is ours. And I know that we can do it together. We must.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.